The second crossing Dex opened his eyes to find Elara's face hovering inches above his own, her expression tight with worry. The medical restraints still held his wrists and ankles, though someone had loosened them enough to allow circulation. His head throbbed with a dull, persistent ache that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the ship's engines. "Welcome back," Elara said softly. "You've been out for 3 hours." 3 hours. The jump transition had lasted subjectively forever. 17 dimensions simultaneously experienced, his consciousness scattered across realities like shattered glass, but objectively it had taken only seconds. The aftermath, however, had hit him like a freight hauler. How bad was it? Dex's voice came out rough, his throat raw as if he'd been screaming. Maybe he had been. Bad enough that resonance nearly burned herself out, keeping you from fragmenting permanently. Elara's hand found his, her fingers interlacing with his own. Your vitals flatlined twice, your neural patterns. Dex, for 47 seconds, we couldn't tell if you were still human or something else entirely. Dex closed his eyes, remembering. The Crucible's voice had been everywhere during the transition, whispering promises and threats in equal measure. Join us. Become more. Reshape reality itself. He'd felt the pull of it, the seductive offer to simply let go and merge with something infinite and terrible. But he'd also felt Elara's voice cutting through the dimensional static, anchoring him. And beneath that, deeper still, something else. The ancient echo that resonance had recognized. The precursor markers in his DNA that made him both vulnerable and essential to whatever came next. "I'm still me," he said, opening his eyes to meet her gaze. "I think. Good enough for now." Elara began unfastening the restraints. "Resonance wants to see you in the cockpit when you're ready. She says we have a problem." Of course they did. Dex sat up slowly, fighting a wave of vertigo. The cabin seemed to tilt at impossible angles for a moment before stabilizing. After effects of the dimensional scattering, probably. He wondered if they'd ever fully fade, or if he'd spend the rest of his life seeing reality from 17 perspectives at once. What kind of problem? The kind where we might not make it to the dead zone before the conspiracy does. Elara helped him stand, steadying him when his legs threatened to give out. And the kind where the War Admiral Chen started has spread faster than anyone predicted. They made their way forward through the narrow corridor to the cockpit. The Nightingale hummed around them, its systems running smoothly despite the abuse they'd put it through. Through the viewport, stars streamed past in elongated smears, the visual distortion of near light-speed travel between jump gates. Resonance of distant stars stood, or rather floated, beside the navigation console. Her luminous form had dimmed noticeably since the jump, her normally vibrant colors muted to pale pastels. Cracks of darkness ran through her like veins, places where her light had been permanently extinguished to save Dex's life. "You survived," Resonance said, her telepathic voice carrying notes of what might have been relief or exhaustion. "I was not certain you would. Thank you," Dex said, meaning it, "for what you did, for holding me together. Do not thank me yet." Resonance gestured to the navigation display, where a 3-dimensional star map rotated slowly. "We have reached the 5th jump gate. One more transition stands between us and the dead zone." Dex studied the map. Their route was marked in blue, a line threading through multiple star systems. But there were other markers now, red indicators scattered across several sectors, pulsing like open wounds. "What am I looking at?" "The war," Elara said quietly. "It's not just Zeta-7 anymore. 3 days ago, Admiral Chen attacked that Cretharium convoy. 2 days ago, the swarm retaliated against human colonies in the Outer Reach. Yesterday, the Thryn declared blood honor against both sides and mobilized their clans. This morning, the Vexians sealed their borders and executed 17 human diplomats as spies." Dex felt his stomach drop. "How many dead?" "Confirmed casualties across all species, 4,731. Resonance's voice was hollow. "Projected casualties within the next 48 hours. 70,000 within 1 week. 500,000. The numbers hit Dex like physical blows. He thought of the Crucible counting deaths during his vision. 962 confirmed, and realized it must be counting still, growing stronger with each life extinguished. The conspiracy had succeeded. They'd triggered exactly the kind of galactic war needed to power the ancient device. "Admiral Strand?" Dex asked. Recalled the fleet from Zeta 7 and arrested Admiral Chen, Elara said. But the damage was done. The Critherium don't believe it was a rogue operation. They think humanity as a whole sanctioned the attack. And the other species are choosing sides, preparing for a conflict that could consume the entire galaxy. Dex moved to the viewport, staring out at the streaming stars. Somewhere out there, people were dying, ships were burning, entire colonies were being evacuated or destroyed. And every death fed the thing waiting for them in the dead zone. How far ahead is the conspiracy? Their lead has grown, Resonance said. They will reach the Crucible in 9 hours. We will arrive in 14 hours, assuming the final jump transition does not kill you. 5 hours behind. 5 hours for the conspiracy to claim the Crucible, to figure out how to use it, to reshape reality according to their twisted vision of human supremacy. Dex remembered what the matriarch had told him. The Crucible cannot be controlled, only fed or destroyed. Can we go faster? Dex asked. Resonance turned her dimmed form toward him. The final jump will be the most dangerous yet. The dead zone creates distortions that affect the jump gates themselves. Your consciousness will be subjected to forces that no human mind was designed to withstand. And She paused, the cracks in her light seeming to widen. I do not have the strength I had before. I gave too much of myself to save you during the last transition. So if we try to rush it, I might not survive, Dex said. And if we don't rush it, the conspiracy wins. Essentially, yes. Elara stepped beside him, her reflection ghostly in the viewport. There has to be another option. There is, Resonance said slowly, but it requires something I am reluctant to attempt. Dex turned to face the Lumineth. Tell me. During the jump transition, I can merge my consciousness partially with yours. Use what remains of my light to shield you from the worst of the dimensional forces. Resonance's form flickered. It would allow us to transit faster, to arrive at the dead zone perhaps only 2 hours behind the conspiracy. What's the cost? Elara asked, though Dex suspected she already knew. For me, almost certainly permanent dissolution. The Lumineth exist as coherent patterns of energy. What I gave to save Dex during the last jump has already damaged my pattern beyond full repair. Merging with his consciousness during another transition would unravel me completely. Silence filled the cockpit. Outside, the stars continued their endless stream, indifferent to the choices being made within this small ship, hurtling through the void. No, Dex said finally. I won't let you sacrifice yourself for me. It would not be for you alone, Resonance said. It would be for the galaxy, for all the species caught in this war, for the possibility that someone might finally break the cycle that has destroyed 17 civilizations before yours. There has to be another way, Elara insisted. If there is, I do not see it. Resonance moved closer, her dimmed light washing over them both. I am old, even by Lumineth standards. I have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth and death of stars. My pattern will dissolve eventually, regardless. All energy returns to the cosmic background in time. But this death would have meaning. It would have purpose. Dex thought about his conversation with Garrett at the orbit's edge, just before leaving the station. Everyone has a choice. Garrett had said that, insisted on it even when Dex claimed otherwise. But what choice was there here? Let Resonance sacrifice herself, or arrive too late to stop the conspiracy? He looked at Elara, saw his own anguish reflected in her eyes. They'd known Resonance for less than a week, but she'd become part of their small crew, their found family racing toward impossible odds. How long do we have to decide? Dex asked. We reach the final jump gate in 5 hours, Resonance said. The decision must be made before then. 5 hours. Dex nodded slowly. Then we have 5 hours to find another option. Dex, Resonance began. No. He cut her off, surprised by the force in his own voice. You saved my life. You showed Elara the truth about Korvathi. You've guided us this far. I'm not giving up on you in 5 hours just because it seems convenient. Resonance regarded him silently for a long moment. Then something like warmth flickered through her dimmed light. The matriarch chose well, she said softly. Very well. 5 hours to find another way. Dex turned to Elara. The data chip Strand gave me. Everything he knows about the conspiracy. Is there anything in it that might help? I've been through it twice, Elara said. Names, connections, financial records, communications intercepts, but nothing about how to reach the dead zone faster or survive the jump transitions. What about the crucible itself? Dex pressed. Resonance, you said it reaches out to me because of the precursor markers in my DNA. Can I use that connection somehow? Communicate with it directly? Possibly, Resonance said carefully. But the crucible is not benevolent. Every communication with it is a test, a temptation. It will offer you power, knowledge, the ability to reshape reality, and it will seem reasonable, even necessary. That is how it has destroyed 17 civilizations, by making its victims believe they could control it. Dex remembered the voice during the jump transition, whispering promises. Join us, become more. He'd resisted then, barely. Could he do it again? Could he open himself to that influence deliberately and maintain enough of his humanity to resist? Show me, he said. Elara grabbed his arm. Dex, no, you just recovered from nearly fragmenting permanently. You can't. I have to try. He met her eyes, saw the fear there and the understanding beneath it. If there's even a chance I can learn something that helps us arrive faster, or survive the transition without Resonance sacrificing herself, I have to take it. The risk is considerable, Resonance warned. The Crucible's influence grows stronger as we approach. Opening yourself to it now could allow it to take permanent hold of your consciousness. Then you'll pull me back, Dex said, like you did during the jump, like Elara did with her voice. I am weaker than I was, Resonance said, and I'm stronger. Dex wasn't sure if that was true, but he needed to believe it. I survived 17 dimensions. I can survive talking to an ancient artifact. Resonance and Elara exchanged a look, or whatever passed for a look between a human and a being of living light. Some silent communication passed between them, and Dex realized with a start that they were both protective of him in their own ways. When had he gone from being invisible to being someone worth protecting? If we do this, Elara said finally, we do it in the cabin, with restraints. And the moment anything goes wrong, we pull you out. Agreed, Dex said. They made their way back to the cabin, Elara supporting him when the lingering vertigo made the corridor tilt. The medical restraints were still attached to the bunk from before, and Dex lay down without being asked, letting Elara secure his wrists and ankles. I don't like this, she said, checking the restraints twice. I know. Dex caught her hand before she could step away. But we're running out of time, out of options. This is what I can do. See patterns, notice things others miss, communicate with ancient artifacts, apparently. Let me use it. Elara leaned down and kissed him, brief but intense. Come back, she whispered against his lips. Always, he promised, though neither of them knew if he could keep it. Resonance positioned herself at the foot of the bunk, her light casting shifting shadows across the cabin walls. I will monitor your neural patterns. If the crucible begins to take hold, I will sever the connection. How do I start? Dex asked. Close your eyes, open your mind. The precursor markers in your DNA will do the rest. The crucible has been calling to you since we departed Starbase 447. Now you simply need to answer. Dex closed his eyes. For a moment, there was only darkness and the sound of his own breathing. Then he felt it, a presence at the edge of his consciousness, vast and patient and utterly alien. The same voice that had whispered during the jump transition, but clearer now, more focused. You return, the crucible said. Good, we have much to discuss. Dex forced himself to remain calm, to not recoil from the touch of something so ancient and powerful. I need information, he said, his voice seeming to echo across impossible distances. About the jump transitions, about reaching the dead zone faster. Always demanding, the crucible said, and there was something like amusement in its tone. Your species has so little patience. But very well, I will show you what you wish to know. For a price. Of course there was a price. There was always a price with precursor technology. What do you want? A taste, the crucible said. A small portion of your consciousness freely given, enough to understand you better. To prepare for what comes when you finally arrive. Dex felt Elara's hand tighten on his, anchoring him to physical reality. Felt Resonance's light washing over him, ready to pull him back if needed. He thought about the 4,731 people already dead in the war. About the 70,000 projected to die in the next 2 days. about all the deaths to come if they arrived too late to stop the conspiracy. "Show me first," Dex said. "Show me what I need to know. Then I'll decide about the price." The Crucible laughed, a sound like reality tearing. "Bold. I approve. Very well." And then Dex was falling, plummeting through layers of reality towards something vast and terrible and beautiful beyond comprehension. The dead zone opened before him like a wound in space, and he saw the jump gate at its edge, distorted by forces that shouldn't exist. The conspiracy's ships already through it, racing toward the Crucible's location. And beyond them, deeper in the dead zone, something else. Something the conspiracy didn't know about yet. A second precursor facility. Smaller than the Crucible's chamber, but connected to it through dimensional pathways. A back door, built by the ancient civilization as a failsafe. If someone could reach it first, they could access the Crucible's chamber from an unexpected angle. Arrive ahead of the conspiracy despite leaving behind them. But the pathway was dangerous. More dangerous than any jump gate transition. It would require passing through dimensions that would shred a normal human consciousness instantly. Only someone with active precursor markers, someone already beginning to transcend physical limitations, could survive it. Only someone like Dex. "You see," the Crucible whispered, "I offer you a way, but the price remains. Give me a taste of your consciousness, and I will guide you through the dimensional pathway. You will arrive first. You will have the advantage you seek." Dex wanted to refuse. Every instinct screamed that giving any part of himself to this thing was dangerous, potentially fatal. But he thought about Resonance's offer to sacrifice herself, about the certainty in her voice when she'd said her death would have meaning. Wasn't this the same choice? Sacrifice a part of himself, maybe lose some of his humanity in the process, to give them a chance at winning? "Dex," Elara's voice cut through the vision, distant but urgent. "Your neural patterns are spiking. Whatever it's offering you, it's a trap." Was it? Dex tried to think clearly, to see the pattern beneath the temptation. The Crucible wanted him to give freely, to make a choice. That was important somehow. The device couldn't simply take what it wanted. It needed permission, needed willing sacrifice. Just like it had needed the conspiracy to willingly start a war to feed it. Just like it had needed 17 previous civilizations to willingly seek it out and try to use it. The Crucible didn't force. It tempted. It offered reasonable-sounding bargains that led inevitably to destruction. "No," Dex said, and felt the Crucible's surprise ripple through the connection. "I won't give you any part of my consciousness, but I'll remember the pathway. I'll use it without your help." "Impossible," the Crucible said, and for the first time, Dex heard something like anger in its voice. "You cannot navigate the dimensional pathways without my guidance. You will be lost. Scattered. Destroyed." "Maybe," Dex agreed, "but that's my choice to make, not yours." He pulled back, severing the connection with an effort that felt like tearing off his own skin. The cabin snapped back into focus around him. Elara's worried face, Resonance's dimmed light, the familiar hum of the ship's engines. Dex gasped for breath, his heart hammering. "I found something," he managed. "A way to reach the Crucible first, but it's dangerous. Really dangerous." "More dangerous than letting Resonance sacrifice herself?" Elara asked. "Different dangerous." Dex struggled to sit up, and Elara quickly unfastened the restraints. "There's a second precursor facility in the dead zone. A back door connected to the Crucible's chamber through dimensional pathways. If I can navigate them, we could arrive ahead of the conspiracy." "Navigate them how?" Resonance asked. Dex met her dimmed gaze. "The same way I survived the jump transition. By letting my consciousness fragment across multiple dimensions, but doing it deliberately. Staying coherent enough to guide us through." "That could kill you," Elara said flatly. "So could the regular jump transition at this point," Dex countered. "And this way Resonance doesn't have to dissolve herself to save me. She can focus on keeping the ship stable while I guide us through." Resonance was silent for a long moment, her form flickering. "The Crucible showed you this pathway?" "Yes, and offered to guide you through it?" "For a price I refused to pay." "Then it is almost certainly a trap," Resonance said. "The Crucible does nothing without purpose. If it offered you this knowledge, it wants you to attempt the pathway." "Maybe," Dex admitted, "but it also seemed angry when I refused its help, like I'd found a loophole it didn't expect. Or, like you'd done exactly what it wanted you to do, Elara said. Dex, we can't trust anything that thing shows you. Dex looked between them. These two people who'd become his family in the span of a few desperate days. He thought about Garrett's words again. Everyone has a choice. And Strands, you've become something remarkable. Maybe he had. Or maybe he was just a maintenance worker in way over his head, about to make a fatal mistake. But wasn't that what this whole journey had been about? Ordinary people making impossible choices, hoping they were enough? I need to try, Dex said quietly. We have 5 hours until the final jump gate. Give me that time to prepare, to understand what I saw. Then I'll attempt the dimensional pathway. If it works, we arrive first and have a chance. If it doesn't, he trailed off. If it doesn't, you die, and we're back to my original plan, Resonance finished. Except I won't let that happen either, Elara said firmly. We find a third option, or a fourth, or a 100th, but we don't sacrifice anyone. Dex smiled despite everything. When did you become the optimist? When I met someone stupid enough to think a maintenance worker could save the galaxy, Elara's expression softened. We do this together, Dex. All three of us. No sacrifices, no martyrs. We find a way through that keeps everyone alive. Resonance's light flickered again, and Dex thought he detected something like hope in the pattern. 5 hours, she agreed. We will use them wisely. They spent the next hours in intense preparation. Resonance shared everything she knew about dimensional pathways and precursor technology. Elara studied the ship's systems, looking for ways to reinforce the hull against the stresses they'd face. And Dex meditated, trying to understand the vision the Crucible had shown him without opening himself to its influence again. The dimensional pathway existed, he was certain of that. It was real, not a hallucination or trap. But navigating it would require him to become something more than human, at least temporarily. To embrace the transformation the precursor markers were forcing on him. The question was whether he could do that and still remain himself afterward. As the 5 hours counted down, Dex found himself standing in the observation blister again, watching the stars stream past. Elara joined him, slipping her hand into his. You don't have to do this, she said quietly. I know. We could take the regular jump, arrive 5 hours behind the conspiracy and deal with whatever we find. And watch Resonance sacrifice herself in the process. Maybe she'd survive. Maybe we're underestimating her resilience. Dex turned to face her. Do you believe that? Elara was quiet for a moment. No, she admitted. But I also don't want to lose you. I just found you, Dex. I just figured out that maybe I don't have to carry guilt for things that weren't my fault. That maybe I can trust someone again. And now you're talking about deliberately fragmenting your consciousness across multiple dimensions. I survived it once, barely, and you had Resonance at full strength pulling you back. Now she's weakened, and you want to do something even more dangerous. Dex pulled her closer, resting his forehead against hers. I'm scared too, he admitted. Terrified, actually. But I keep thinking about all those people dying in the war, about the Crucible counting each death, growing stronger, about 17 civilizations that failed this test before us. And you think you can succeed where they failed? No, Dex said honestly. But I think I have to try. Because if I don't, if I take the safe option and arrive too late, I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if I could have made a difference. Elara was quiet for a long time. Then she kissed him, slow and deliberate. Then I'm with you, she said. Whatever happens in those pathways, I'll be here, calling you back. Promise? Promise. They returned to the cockpit to find Resonance had made preparations of her own. The navigation console glowed with new configurations, dimensional mathematics that Dex's enhanced perception could almost understand. The Lumineth had positioned herself at the center of the cockpit, her dimmed form pulsing with determination. The jump gate is 30 minutes ahead, Resonance said. If you are certain about this course of action, we should begin preparations now. Dex took his seat at the co-pilot station, Elara settling into the pilot's chair. Through the viewport, he could see the jump gate growing larger, a massive ring of precursor technology that would tear open a hole in space-time itself. I'm ready, Dex said, and hoped it was true. The dimensional pathway will open approximately 17 seconds after jump gate activation, Resonance explained. You will need to project your consciousness through it while maintaining enough coherence to guide us. I will hold the ship stable and prevent your body from dying while you are elsewhere." "No pressure," Dex muttered. Elara reached over and squeezed his hand. "You've got this." The jump gate loomed closer. Dex could feel the crucible's presence at the edge of his mind, watching, waiting. It knew what he was about to attempt. And despite his refusal earlier, it seemed almost eager. That should have worried him more than it did. 10 minutes, Resonance announced. Dex closed his eyes and began the breathing exercises Resonance had taught him. Slow, measured breaths. Focusing his consciousness, preparing to fragment it deliberately rather than having it scattered by external forces. He thought about his parents, gone for 10 years now. About Garrett, covering for him back at the station. About Strand, fighting his own battles against the conspiracy. About the Lumineth matriarch, who'd seen something in him worth betting the galaxy on. And he thought about Elara beside him, and Resonance behind him, and the fragile found family they'd become in such a short time. 5 minutes, Resonance said. The jump gate filled the viewport now, a massive ring crackling with barely contained energy. Beyond it, the dead zone waited, a region of space where reality itself grew thin and strange. "Dex," Elara said, and he opened his eyes to meet her gaze. "Whatever happens, know that you're not alone. We're right here." "I know," he said, and he did. 1 minute, Resonance announced. "Prepare for jump gate activation." Dex felt his precursor markers activating, responding to proximity to ancient technology. His vision began to split, showing him multiple dimensions simultaneously. But this time, instead of fighting it, he embraced it. Let himself become what the markers wanted him to be, a bridge between physical and transcendent, between human and something more. "Jump gate activating," Resonance said. "Now." The Nightingale plunged through the gate and reality screamed. But this time, Dex was ready. This time he dove into the dimensions willingly, searching for the pathway the Crucible had shown him, and found it. The dimensional corridor opened before his fragmented consciousness like a wound in space-time. He could see it stretching ahead, twisting through realities that had no names in human language. At the far end, impossibly distant, and yet somehow close, the second precursor facility waited. Dex reached for it, his consciousness extending across the impossible distance. Behind him, he felt Elara's voice calling his name, anchoring him. Felt Resonance's weakened light holding his body alive. Felt the Nightingale shuddering as it followed his guidance into dimensions no ship was meant to traverse. And ahead, growing closer with each fragment of his scattered awareness, the facility approached. They were going to make it. They were going to arrive first. Then the Crucible spoke, its voice amused and terrible. "Did you truly think I would show you this pathway without purpose? You refused to give me a taste of your consciousness freely, so I will take it by force as you pass through. Welcome, Dex Holloway. Welcome to Transcendence." And Dex realized with horror that Elara had been right. It had been a trap all along. He'd done exactly what the Crucible wanted. Behind him, impossibly far away, Elara screamed his name. Resonance's light flared desperately, trying to pull him back. But the dimensional pathway had him now, and the Crucible was drawing him inexorably forward toward a fate he couldn't escape. The Nightingale hurtled through impossible dimensions, and Dex Holloway's consciousness began to unravel in ways that would either destroy him completely or transform him into something the galaxy had never seen. Either way, there was no turning back.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.